Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you. And most importantly, please help me in welcoming whom I believe can lead this country, this discussion, this mining industry to a better future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding and welcoming the Senate President, Mr. Senator Franklin Drilon.
Thank you very much, Philip, for that very enlightening opening remarks. So let me formally greet the President of the Chamber of Mines of the Philippines, Mr. Philip Romualdez, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Chamber of Mines, Mr. Artemio Decine, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, officers and members of the Chamber of Mines of the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good morning to all of you. First of all, allow me to thank the Chamber of Mines for this opportunity to meet with you and exchange ideas with the movers and shakers of the mining industry. I truly appreciate your efforts to promote the mining industry's potential to become a major contributor to our economy. This is an auspicious venue for the industry's best minds to discuss and generate ideas on how to meet the many challenges of the mining industry, of how to strike a balance between revenues and protecting our environment, of how to strike a balance between allowing a reasonable return on your investment and the people's equitable share in the exploitation of our country's natural resources. I take note of your conference theme, moving forward, harnessing opportunities. This theme could be the theme of the Philippine Congress today, given the challenges of the PDAF scam that we are facing on a daily basis. We want to move forward and harness opportunities for a better country. Indeed, the economic opportunities in the mining industry are as abundant as our mineral deposits. This mineral wealth is attributed to our being geographically located, fortunately or unfortunately, in the Ring of Fire. Having 9 million hectares with high mineral potential, the Philippines is now ranked top 5 in the world for overall mineral reserves. Second in gold, third in copper resources. These untapped mineral wealth is estimated at more than $840 billion. And yet, the industry's contribution to the economy is small. Last year, mining share in the gross domestic product was plotted as merely 0.7%. Given our rich mineral resources, the mining industry, if properly and responsibly developed, can be one of the drivers of our economic growth. We acknowledge that the industry is high risk and capital intensive. We understand that investors in the industry fear that the economic returns may not be enough to recover the cost. Likewise, we understand that the gestation period for large-scale investments normally exceeds 10 to 15 years if a full exploration program has to be undertaken. Be assured that we are taking note of all these issues and concerns that you have raised. Having said that, I am also certain that all of us, you in the industry and we in government, are all concerned with the protection of our environment and our people's welfare. I can see how impassioned Philip here was in pointing out the many good things that the mining industry has done for our country. But having said that, our country is not a stranger to mining accidents. These accidents have resulted in severe environmental damage that displaced people and deeply affected the life of the local community. The social and environmental costs sometimes are quite high. It will take generations to fix, for example, polluted rivers or devastated mangroves, coral reefs, agricultural land, and many more. In certain cases, damage is irreparable in our midst. Hence, I think it is opportune to appeal to the industry to observe and apply best practices. Many of you are doing that. This 3-day mining conference is an opportune time for your industry to compare best practices, share new techniques, and showcase new technologies and processes. My dear friends, we cannot risk the future of our children and the generations that come after them. We have seen mining disasters of epic proportions in many parts of the world, where environmental and social costs outweigh the economic benefits. We do not want that to happen in our country. We are responsible for these resources, you and I. It is our duty to leave these in good hands so that succeeding generations will be able to enjoy them. We support the development of the mining industry, but we must take measures to ensure that the social and environmental costs will not outweigh the economic benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, the road to mining development must be paved not just with good intentions, but also with serious reforms. It is imperative that we practice transparency, more so because of our participation in the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. I will propose some specific proposals for your industry's consideration. Remember that, I was telling Philip here that the last contact I had with your industry was probably when I was still a very young lawyer in the mid-70s, when my client in the mid-70s was Atlas, and I would go to Masbate for trying a case for Atlas. And I remember very clearly that, it was such a difficult, it would take so much effort to go to Masbate. And I discovered that there was no hotel. And I had to check into the hospital to get a decent overnight stay in Masbate. So when I submit to you proposals for your consideration, you can be assured that this is coming from one who would have only the interest of all concerned in mind. First, the areas where mining is allowed must be clearly defined and marked. This is an important step to prevent investors from being misled in investing in areas where mining is not allowed. Second, to ensure that only the best practices are observed, the grant of mining rights should be limited to those who have zealously complied with all the pertinent requirements. By the same token, those that have been involved in environmental incidents and have not implemented the required remediation measures should be disqualified. Third, to prevent both human and environmental catastrophe, I join the call to ban the use of mercury in small-scale mining. Fourth, we must eliminate speculations by canceling non-moving applications and non-performing mining contract and permit holders. This will put the industry in the hands of the real miners. Fifth, we must earnestly go after illegal miners. I propose the creation of a task force on illegal mining to be led by our law enforcement agencies. Sixth, small-scale mining should be rationalized by declaring a people's small-scale mining areas or Minahang Bayan. Seventh, the industry must do its share in leveling the playing field by cooperating with government in checking abuses in the system of incentives and tax holidays. It is sad to note that some mining companies, and let me emphasize, this is not a general practice, but only in some mining companies have managed to get away from their tax obligations by devising schemes such as locating their mineral processing plants in ecozones to avail of tax holidays. Moreover, mine life must be part of the criteria that should be observed in the registration process. At present, mining projects can be registered to avail of an income tax holiday from 4 to 7 years under the Omnibus Investment Code. Hence, a mine which has a life of say 7 years can operate without paying income taxes for its entire duration. These kind of practices would give the industry or would give those who oppose the industry some basis for criticism. My dear friends, we know that taxes in whatever form are always met with deep resentment and cynicism, especially in these days. But life, my dear friends, they say there are only two things that we cannot avoid: death and taxes. Let me make my position clear. The people, through taxes, royalties, and other fees, must have their fair and equitable share in any economic activity done in the country, especially where it involves the extraction of our natural, finite, and limited non-renewable resources. The Filipino people, I think, are entitled without doubt to the rightful share of what any industry would earn, but especially from the mining industry, where earnings come from finite non-renewable resources. Like any industry, I believe that the mining industry must do its share in national development, more so because it is extracting our natural wealth. While we recognize the high economic risk involved in mining as against the success rate, we must remember also that the minerals are owned by our people, by our country, not by just those who have mining licenses. Our natural resources, you will agree with me, must be utilized properly, responsibly, and sustainably to protect the interests of our future generations. It is worth noting that every cubic meter of ore that is mined today would mean depriving future generations of a cubic meter of that ore. The government, knowing the potential of the mining industry, is taking a leap of faith in entrusting these limited assets to entrepreneurial but responsible hands. Ladies and gentlemen, the people must therefore have their fair share of the country's wealth in the form of taxes and royalties. And I underscore fair and equitable. But how fair is fair? The question may be asked. Let me assure you that your Senate will be a listening Senate. Your Senate President will listen to all quarters. That is the assurance that I can give all of you. We will exert every effort to determine what is fair for your industry, what is fair for our people. We will do our best as your representatives to determine which tax regime is equitable and work best for our industry, for your industry, for our people, and our country as well. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many challenges in your industry today, but I am certain that if we have a continuous dialogue among the industry players, the stakeholders, those who are emotional about the industry, and the government, we can find a common ground to address these many issues. We are, after all, have the same goal, that of having a sustainable and responsible mining industry that can help in the development of our country. Let me therefore conclude by wishing all of you a productive and meaningful conference. I repeat, we will listen. We will look at the inputs of this conference when we sit down and decide what is a fair and equitable share of our people and your industry insofar as our natural resources are concerned. I wish you all, especially our foreign delegates, a memorable and pleasant stay in our country. Thank you very much, and a pleasant good morning to all.